Hi everyone, Kieran Brown here, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about gym advice for my 22-year-old self. So for context, I'm 26 now, so this would be advice to myself 4 years ago, pretty much. So here's this video for. It's for guys who want to start in the gym but can't get motivated. Guys who have had small spells of consistency but then just couldn't stick to it. And then guys who want to enjoy going to the gym but don't. And this is me at 22. So what we'll discuss, first of all, go through like my timeline with the gym, and then after that, I'll go through different pieces of advice that I think would be helpful if you're in this position. So the timeline starts in 2013 when I was 15 years old in school, and this is pretty much my first contact with the gym. We had this, tiny little gym at the school, and as part of PE lessons, sometimes we'd go in there and, it'd be the classic like machines and cardio and stuff like that. Never really took it too seriously. Wasn't interested in it, to be fair, at that time. But yeah, that was sort of my first taste of the gym. A year later, this is when I went to an actual gym for the first time with some friends. And at this point, obviously had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I was pretty much only going just because my mates were, and, it's like a fun thing to do. I wasn't actually motivated myself to, you know, get consistent, and I would never like go by myself. It was more of a social thing, to be honest. And then in 2016, when I was 18, went to uni, signed up to the uni gym, but barely went, to be honest. Between, like lectures, going out, just being hungover a lot, eating like horrible sleep schedule. It wasn't an ideal environment really to get consistent with the gym. But there was something inside me that wanted to start going, get consistent, make some progress, build some muscle. Else I wouldn't have signed up. But yeah, it's just did not have the habit at all really of going. 2018 to 19, this is sort of like second and third year at uni. I didn't even have a gym membership at this point. I just used my mates' ones. Um, Especially in third year, there was a house of 5 of us, and I think 3 of them had a gym membership. And the closest gym, it was kind of expensive at the time. It was about £33 a month, so like $40. And I was like, those 3 have got a membership and they won't go all the time, so I'll just use theirs. But obviously that didn't really work out, and to be honest, none of us really went. After uni in 2020, when I was 22, I moved to Cardiff with a mate. It's just, like a different city, a few hours from home. And I was going with my mate. We were both really enjoying it. I started to get consistent. We're going pretty much every day. And then COVID lockdowns happened. And yeah, the Welsh government in particular was pretty tough on their lockdowns, and they shut the gyms for quite a while. So we had a good spell of maybe a couple months going consistently, and then just lockdown, and just home workouts. They weren't really the same. I don't think it can ever substitute for a gym, not unless you buy all the equipment and everything. We're just sort of doing bodyweight stuff, but yeah, that was a bit annoying as it was kind of out of our control, really. So yeah, a couple of years later, age 24, go backpacking for 7 months, and I came back in pretty terrible shape. There was a lot of drinking, junk food again, not sleeping too well. Probably got to the gym on average twice a week, which, it's not bad, but to actually make some proper gains, it's not really enough. I think you need at least 3 times a week to start making actual gains. So this is January 2023. Once I got back from traveling, as I signed back up to the gym and got on the little, body composition like machine there, and it said I was 21% body fat, and I was like, what? Like, there's no way. Like, I've always been, kind of lean. I've never been like fat per se. Um, but yeah, when I saw that, I was pretty horrified, and I actually took like a progress picture around that time, and I was just like, oh my god, like what's happened? Can't believe I let it get to this point. And that's when I discovered Kino Body on YouTube, and his whole premise is about getting lean first and then sort of trying to put on muscle after. And I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I also saw an article, probably just before discovering Kino Body, actually. I found this article on Legion Athletics, and it was basically called Should You Cut or Bulk? And the advice was, if you're over, what was it? If you're over 15% body fat, then you should cut. And if you're over 10% body fat, then you should bulk. And if you're in between, you can sort of decide which way you want to go. So I'd always believe that improve the way you look. First, you've got to put on muscle, but at that body fat percentage, like the low 20s, in fact, is the opposite. Looking leaner and losing fat makes you look more attractive, in my opinion. Yeah, so that's when I discovered Kino Body. I watched some of his YouTube videos and eventually ended up buying his Warrior Shredding program, which is like 3 days a week, short, intense workouts, followed like the meal plan and everything. And I've pretty much been consistent ever since. So 2024, really, I was very obsessed with trying to get to 10% body fat, and I just realized that I've been cutting for so long, and I was relying on my scales to tell me what body fat percentage I was. And even though the day-to-day changes might be right, which is the main thing I'm looking for, the actual number might be slightly off. And yeah, at this point, a couple times I got down to around 12% body fat, and I really started to feel it. Like, I was getting really hungry, my energy was low, I just wasn't feeling very great. And then as soon as I sort of bumped up to like 13 and around there, 13, 14, I felt good. And one time I used the body composition machine at the gym. This is a different gym to I mentioned earlier at this point. And I went on there like during the day, maybe like after work in the evening. So I'd eaten, like I wasn't fasted. I had like my gym top and gym shorts on, and that said that I was 10% body fat. So it might have been the whole time I was trying to get down to 10% body fat, thinking I was 12, but I might have actually been there. So at that point, I sort of just went off, how I was feeling. And what it seems to be on my scales, and it says 12%, that's when I start to feel a bit bleh. So yeah, I realized I've been cutting too much and needed to bulk. And then I started bulking sort of earlier this year, and I got over 80 kilos for the first time, training like 5-6 times a week. And that was sort of the more traditional bodybuilding schedule, longer sessions. They're probably like 75 to 90 minutes, 3 sets of 12, that kind of thing, but not going to failure every time, apart from the last set. And yeah, now I'm back on a different Kino Body program. I'm going to the gym every other day for strength. So rambled on a bit there, but that's sort of my personal timeline. And now time for the advice I would give to myself when I was at this point here. Here's a quick summary. There's going to be 10 different pieces of advice. I'll go through them one by one. So the first one, as I mentioned, is buying a gym program. And, before buying a program, when I was just going with my mates, at school, at uni, it'd pretty much just be chest and arms like every day. Never train shoulders or back, barely legs. And yeah, the exercise selection was just terrible. I had no idea what we were doing. And this is like the thing that finally made me become consistent, just having an exact plan to follow from someone who knows what they're talking about. And it was just super easy to follow. It was 3 1-hour workouts, if that, even like 45 minutes, which was a great starting point for me to get consistent, because that was like easy to stick to. Like I could go to the gym 3 times a week. It'd usually be like Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I'd have the weekend off. So yeah, I bought that program in March 2023, that should say, and it was like $100. And yeah, since then I haven't missed a session unless I'm ill or on like holiday or something. Number 2, this is a big one, tracking workouts. My first ever recorded workout was in 2018. So as you can see, yeah, that's like a whole 5 years pretty much of just not tracking anything. And yeah, you can see a screenshot of the actual notes that were made. I just did it like in my phone on the notes section. So yeah, that's how I started out. And then so that was 2018, that was the first ever one. And then I didn't start consistently tracking until 2021. As you can see, the other picture on the left there, that's like the notes to my phone. And you can see there all the different workouts, pretty much in the same format as that one above. And then in August 2022, a mate of mine suggested getting the Strong app, and it's like £30 $30 a year for the pro subscription, and it's been an absolute game changer. Can't recommend it enough. And yeah, then every workout since then has been recorded, like over 350, probably like 370 odd workouts now. And that's the picture on the right. That's what it looks like on the Strong app. And the great thing on it, it looks at your personal bests, whether that be weight, volume, 1 rep max, and yeah, it just keeps tab of all your records and your progress. And it's just super easy, just having your phone there next to you and just like punch it in. So yeah, number 2, if you're not doing this already, 100% start tracking your workouts. Number 3, extending horizons. And I think so yeah, I was always thinking in 3-month time frames to make, like, this big transformation. Maybe I was looking on YouTube at the transformation videos. It's 90-day amazing transformation, but it just wasn't the case. And I think it would have helped to expand that horizon to even like years, and just say, like, you won't make like serious progress until at least a year of training, to be honest. And getting your dream physique, that'll probably take at least 5 years of like consistent training, if not more. And that's just when you start becoming consistent. You could have 5 years, even like 9 years, like me, faffing around, half-hearted, not being consistent. That's not going to take you very far. So until you get consistent, it will take years. And I think where the timeframes do come in handy is the different periods of your training, like when you're cutting and bulking. I think it is good to like break it down like that. So you might do like 6 months of bulking and then a 3-month cut, 6 months of bulking, 3-month cut, something like that. So it is good to break that down into smaller chunks. So next is training partners. Training partners are great at the start, particularly. You can learn from each other, just pick up different things. You can have a spot for extra reps, particularly on like the bench press. It's more enjoyable, like going with a friend. and it can help with consistency as well. Like you might not be feeling too up for it, but then your mate's like, oh, I'm going. Like, do you want to come? And then you're like, oh yeah, you know what? Like, I'll go. So it can be super helpful with that. But the key with training partners is to never rely on them to go to the gym. And the way you get around this is you have your set times, like your Monday, Wednesday, Friday, straight after work, where you're going to go to the gym and do your session. And then you say to your training partner, like, these are the times I'm going. I'll meet you there. And, if they don't turn up, then you still get your session in. But if they do turn up, see it as a bonus. So, yeah, I'd tell my younger self, never rely on a training partner and start having the ability to go by yourself as quickly as possible. Number 5, realistic, specific numerical targets. It's a bit of a mouthful, but so I used to purely focus on weight, and then I just got a bit fat. I was 5'10", 79 kgs at 19% body fat in early 2022, and that was because I was just focusing on the weight. So I was like, if I could put on a kilo in a week, like, that's great, but probably, less than a third of that is muscle and 2/3 of it is body fat. So probably not looking any better, and if not worse. And then, yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I learned the importance of leaning down first and then bulking. So yeah, pretty much my advice to my younger self would be not to bulk if I'm already over 12% body fat, so like 13, 14. If I'm at like 13, 14, go on like a little cut, get down to 12 or so, and then start bulking. And I love breaking down the goals into numbers that can be measured. So, and having an end goal as well, like this big end goal that can be split up into smaller chunks. It is great for motivation. So the two main numerical targets, which really helped me, is having a weight target and a body fat percent target. Like I said earlier, you don't want to just look at weight, you want to look at body composition as well. And for most men, a BMI over 24 with a body fat under 15% is where you want to be. And that's realistic for almost anyone, I think. And yeah, so you can just use a BMI calculator to work out where you're at now, like I did on the right there. So here's the ultimate goal for me that I've worked out. For my height, a BMI of 24 is around 76 kilos. So that would be the bottom range, and that's when I'd want to be like really lean, like as lean as I would go. So like 8% body fat. And then at the top end of the weight would be 86 kilos, and that's where I'd want to be around 12% body fat. I personally, the eventual goal is to sort of bounce between those body fat percent ranges, like the 8 and the 12. So get down to like an 8 and then bulk up. And then once hit 12, cut down again. But yeah, these targets are still a long way off, at least 2 years, I reckon. So that also relates back to expanding horizons. So yeah, I think it will be a while, but I'm working on it. Point number 6, what is the alternative? If you can't commit to the gym, what is the alternative? If you look at these 3 guys, these 3 guys on the left, what if they, they're not in bad shape compared to the average guy. But what if they just stayed like that, for the rest of their lives? What if they never became the guys on the right? I think it would be a shame for anyone not to try and, push their physical limits like this, and try and at least once in their life build an aesthetic body that they're proud of. So yeah, what is what is the alternative? What does your life look like when you're 40, 50, 60, 70 years old if you don't commit to this, now? Visualize life with your dream physique and life just staying the same. So when you're questioning whether to go to the gym or not, just ask yourself, what is the alternative? Are you going to be like the guys on the left or the right? Number 7, fear of judgment. Don't be afraid of people looking at you and what they might think at the gym. That's quite a big one. The gym is a place of mutual respect. So, even if you're horribly out of shape and it's your first time in the gym, everyone there will have massive respect for you, even if they don't say it to your face. And the only way to kill this fear is with repetitions. The more you go, the more your fear will evaporate. And that might take like 50 sessions, might take less, might take more. But, if I see these two guys in the gym on the right here, I see the first thing I think of is like massive respect. Like, don't even take notice of like what they're doing. Just, the top guys, like, he's overweight. He's in the right place, try and get healthy. He wants to improve himself. Massive respect. And then the guy on the bottom there is like, the skinny guy, doing the bicep curls, maybe with like 5 kg dumbbells. He might be sitting there thinking, everyone's looking at me, like I'm just lifting such a light weight, like everyone's going to be judging me. But nothing can be further from the truth. And in fact, I have a lot of respect for these kinds of guys who are just starting out. And same goes the other way as well. If you see a guy in great shape who has been putting in the effort for years, you also have massive respect for them. So that's why I say it's a place of mutual respect. So don't worry about anyone judging you. Number 8, exercise selection. If you really don't like an exercise, don't do it, especially at the start. For me personally, it was squats and like deadlifts. Those are the main ones. Just didn't like doing them, so I just swapped them out. It's not optimal, but you want to get consistent and enjoy it first. And then once you've nailed that down, then you can look at trying to optimize and introducing other exercises. So yeah, once you've built the habit, look to optimize. Number 9, the key to consistency is to make it enjoyable. If you don't enjoy a session, you won't look forward to the next one. And this is sort of what I was saying on the last point. If in my program I have 4 sets of heavy squats going to like 12 reps, and you're there doing it, you're absolutely hating it, you're killing yourself like with the intensity and the weight, and you finish and you just feel dreadful. And then the next time that leg day comes around, you got to try and motivate yourself to do it all over again, and you're far more likely to just skip the session. So if you're not looking forward to the next one, it's way harder to actually go. So point number 9, just make it enjoyable, build the consistency. And this leads on to the final point, and this is my number 1 tip I'd have for anyone starting the gym. It's my number 1 tip for my 22-year-old self, and that is consistency before intensity. Think about this as a habit for the rest of your life. Don't blow it going too hard at the start and burning out. And in my own journey, things really started to improve for me, and I started to get consistent when I lowered my expectation of going 5, 6, 7 times a week to the gym to make progress, to going 3 times a week, 45-minute to an hour session, exercises I enjoy, and then start to make some progress, which is really motivating as well at the start or at any point. progress as a huge motivator. Obviously, you don't have that at the start, but after a few weeks, you start to make the progress, get that motivation. But that can't happen if you're not consistent first. So focus on the consistency, and that's why I advise buying a program as well, because it's all there. You take the guesswork out of it, and then just follow the program. Follow a program you can stick to for 8, 12, 16 weeks, however long, and then you can start to build from that. Once you've got the habit, then you can start to improve things, optimize. So yeah, that's my number one tip: consistency before intensity. So yeah, here's a summary of advice I'd give to my younger self. Number 1, buy a training program. Number 2, track workouts using the Strong app. Number 3, expand your horizons. It's a lifelong project. Number 4, training partners are a bonus, but not a necessity. Number 5, have a specific weight and body fat percent target and measure it every day. Number 6, ask yourself, what is the alternative? Number 7, tell yourself that everyone in the gym respects you, because they do. Number 8, don't do exercises you don't enjoy. Number 9, make going to the gym as enjoyable as possible. And number 10, the number one tip is consistency before intensity. So if you'd like some help from me personally, and you're interested in some coaching, specifically to lose body fat and get leaner, and we'll also get you started up in the gym if you haven't already, there's a link in the description. It's a link to a funnel with a page where you can book a call and speak to me. And yeah, if we vibe and get on and think it'll be a good match, then we can start working together one-on-one. So yeah, that's everything. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.